All right, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Fall River Redevelopment Authority today, Tuesday, December 14th. The open meeting law statement pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. This time I'd like to take a roll call for attendance, starting, John?
Johnny?
Starting with you.
John Erickson here.
John Madeira's here.
Louis Gonzalez here.
Joe Marshall here.
Ann Keene here.
Thank you. And also participating tonight is Sarah Page, our Executive Director, John Coughlin, our Counsel, and Ken Feidel, our Administrative Service Consultant. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the open session minutes from last month, November 15th, 2021. Is there a motion to accept those minutes, discuss them?
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay, second?
Second.
Second by Ann. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so moved. Next item is the warrant and financial report. You have that in the package. Is there any discussion or additional information needed?
I want to note that since the one that was sent out in the, with the whole packet, I had paid for a $50 Christmas tree for us to decorate in the lobby, and Paula decided to add that, so that's the change there.
I see it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion on the warrant?
A motion to approve the warrant for December 2021 as proposed.
Okay.
Second.
Second by John Erickson. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so moved. At this time, well, I'd like to take the meeting, the agenda out of order. We'll take number 7 on the agenda currently, the executive session. I make a finding that an open session under executive session would have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. We need to make a roll call to get into executive session, to approve the executive session minutes, and to address the below noted real estate and contract negotiation items on the agenda. And we will return back to open session after we're done in executive session. That being said, let's take a roll call vote, starting with, the vote is to go into executive session.
Johnny Erickson.
John Madeira's, yes.
Louis Gonzalez, yes.
Joe Marshall, yes.
Ann Keene, yes.
Okay, so we shall go into executive session.
Okay, you can shut up.
So we're good, we're back, we voted to come back into open session. 2 votes we'd like to take based on discussions. The first vote is to authorize myself to execute an amendment to the contract between the Redevelopment Authority and the Executive Director, Sarah Page, based on her review. At this point, can I give the details?
Sure.
Okay, and the details being, we're increasing Sarah's salary by $5,000 a year and extending her contract 1 additional year. So she's already completed 1 year. She's got 3 more years under contract. And John, will you execute the amendment to that?
Yeah, so I brought one with me.
Oh,
so
perfect, okay.
If you take a vote to authorize the chair to sign it, we can sign that together.
Okay, then I'll entertain a vote to do that. Is there a motion to execute the amendment to the contract between the RDA and Sarah?
I motion we proceed with the amendment to Sarah's contract.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. The second vote, or the next vote, would be to authorize myself to execute a second amendment to the purchase and sale agreement between the Fall River Redevelopment Authority and Liberty Utilities. Is there a vote for that? Is there a motion for that?
Motion to extend the purchase and sales agreement with Liberty Utilities for the Analog Street property.
Okay, is there a second for that?
Is that to August? Is it?
Yeah,
No.
so it gives us until the end of February
Oh, the first
regarding a
one.
decision for the buildings, and it gives Liberty until the end of August to record the AUL and finish remediation.
Okay, I second.
I think you first.
I think Joan did.
Oh, did. Okay, second.
Yeah.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the city pier, 600 DeVault. Oh,
Can I have to go to a city council meeting at 6 for 2 TIFs, and I'm first
Oh,
on the
that's right.
agenda.
Yeah.
Do you want to quickly, 2 minutes, go over the National Park Service stuff, or are you okay with that?
No, what?
Is that on the agenda?
Yes, it is.
where is it?
The Historic District?
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's
it's
in-
number 5.
Yeah.
You want to go to that right away, or you want to take care of that?
It's fine.
You want to take, you can take care of it if you like, so I just got about 5 minutes here.
No, you can go. You
Okay,
can go.
perfect.
Is there anything you want to say about it?
No, so what you have is essentially just a draft scope of work. I take no pride of authorship, it's just a draft, but I think we've captured a lot of the things that would be necessary to incorporate into the development of a district. The benefit of that district will be, as we talked about before, by extending the district down to, St. Anne's Church, thereabouts, whatever the board defines as the boundary. It would then allow the buildings within the district to become eligible for federal and state historic tax credits, which would facilitate and help with the capital stack in terms of the development of these properties for market rate use. So without that, it becomes a little bit more challenging because those federal historic tax credits, by right, it represents 20% of eligible costs on the federal side and 10 to 15% on the state side. So if you have an $8 million project, 20% can be 1.6 million, and another, $1.5 million, 800,000 from the state, giving you 2.4 to offset your cost, right? So this is the first step in doing that. I think we have some buildings along the way that help us. We got the Kennedy Park is on the historic register. St. Anne's Church is on the historic register. St. Mary's Cathedral's on the historic register. So, and I
You're
think,
talking about the federal register, correct?
so once you get on the federal, you also become on the state
Okay,
too,
yeah.
right? So they work hand in glove with one another.
All right.
So you'd be accomplishing both at once. So, like I said, I know that we wanted to put this out to bid sometime early next year. This is the scope. And I think, like I said, if there's any other things you need in there or any other questions, just we can discuss.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for your
Thank
help.
you, guys.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks.
And if I don't see you, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, thanks, guys.
As I said, number 4, City Pier, 600 DeVault Street. Sarah, you want to talk to us about the construction and other updates?
Sure. So, the remediation, the removal of the soil along Duval Street is far along. They've consolidated it in the circle that's going to be in the cul-de-sac driveway, and they have some more to consolidate in a berm that was planned, and they have, Beta has worked on an amendment to the EPA documents because we found that there was a need for more geotextile fabric than had been put down, and Joe McLaughlin from Beta has been carefully out there watching everything so that there won't be questions. We've been asking Kim Tiza to approve it, so there's a little concern that we had to keep going. She knows that. She has looked at the amendment, but she hasn't actually approved it yet. And she's retiring at the end of December, And so Mary Lou was going to call her and say, you know, we really need you to, I really want her to be the one who approves it, not wait until January for some new staff person.
Right.
So that's,
Is the possibility there to get that?
yeah,
Okay.
we really think that
They
she
seemed to
will
think- they
do
sounded-
that,
You sounded, when you talked the other day, they sounded like they were pretty confident.
that she was.
It's just a matter of doing it, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And so they're being, I think, extra careful to make sure that they have photographs of everything, that they can prove that it was all done by the original plan, and, you know, everything that we found hadn't been done is all being corrected properly. So, so I think that's all working out, going well. It just was a bit of extra work that we weren't quite expecting. And they have just about finished the whole perimeter sidewalks. They had left a couple of sections not done because they had underground trenching and things that, you know, conduit they needed to go in. They've been putting a lot of conduit for the electrical transformer and the electric line along the street, and today I saw that they poured concrete covering that. And so they're really moving ahead. They expect the railings to be all up by Christmas,
Oh, wow.
which looks viable. All the posts are up all the way around. And now they need to put the cables in, and still on the northern pier, they still need to put the top piece on, the railing. So, but they're just working through it. And if they don't have all of the cabling in before Christmas, they're planning to come back and make sure that's done over the few weeks after that.
Good.
So, so I did want to say that, you know, we still are waiting for components of the lights to come in, the curbing to come in. They expect to get that in January, February, so they'll have it, so they're all set to put it in the spring. That was, you know, the supply chain issues that affected us. And John Coughlin and I had a call with Nick Corvello at Beta and just talked about the timing. Was there a need for us to send any kind of letter that John might develop? And we agreed that that they're really moving forward, and we didn't need John to write a letter, but what we agreed on was that there will be a summary memo from Nick at Beta telling the board and all of us what is left to be done in the spring, what that plan looks like. So we'll kind of end the year, you know, we expect it to more or less be shut down, although they'll go out and do what they can during the winter, and if we have a mild winter, that would be great. But we'll kind of have a memo to bring you in January that says, here's what's left, here's the plan, and you know, we're very happy that the weather is really good right now, and they're tearing forward. They just have lots of people out there right now.
Yeah, once they get the, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but once they get the horizontal cables in, they're taking down the temporary
Right.
railings, and it looks very nice. You can appreciate how cool a railing it is.
It is a really cool railing. Those posts look really good.
Yeah.
All right, well, that, anything else to add? No?
No.
On that, on the pier?
No, we need the vote.
Well, I was about ready to
Yes,
do that.
right.
I just didn't.
Nope, I'm done with my report.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. I'll entertain a vote to authorize me to execute a second amendment to the purchase and sale agreement between the Fall River Redevelopment Authority and Liberty Utilities. No?
Next one.
No, we're on,
It's the,
see it here.
Oh, I see it. I'm
the
very
beta
sorry.
one, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm still asking. for the vote to authorize the
You
chair
already had that.
a contract with Beta in the amount of $55,000 to develop a Chapter 91 license application. I even wrote that.
I move that we approve it's $5,000 more, right, correct? 5,000 extra
Yeah,
than we thought.
Then we thought,
yep.
right.
I move we approve the 5,000.
Second, is there a second to that? Anyone?
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye? Anyone opposed? Okay, good. Next, Bank Street Armor.
So the mayor came to my office again yesterday, I think it was yesterday, and said, where are we with Brian Tebow, the potential purchaser? And I told him that John and I were waiting for his attorney to send the land disposition agreement back that had been promised. He was in touch with us right before Thanksgiving. So the mayor said, all right, I'm calling him right now. So he, in my office, called him, and Brian told him how sick he had been, and that, you know, it just had really held him up, and that they would get us the document by Friday, which I told John, and John said that he would contact the lawyer and see what the lawyer had to say about that. So the mayor had a good conversation with him, but Brian brought up all the concerns he's been bringing up that we hoped he would talk with Ken about regarding, you know, taxes and how this will be handled, and he just has a lot of questions, and we thought that he had kind of a roadmap to get those answered, and I think he's still struggling to figure it out. Did you have a chance to contact his
Yeah, so I
attorney?
sent you a copy, I don't know if you saw
Oh,
it, but I
no,
sent you
I
a copy of
didn't.
the email I sent to his lawyer last night.
Oh, great.
Saying that we anticipated getting it back on Friday. But
This Friday coming?
Yes, but I did not get a response to that.
Right. I do remember that. It's a vague memory.
Yep.
I recall talking to you, it seems like Friday seems to be
Yes.
the checkpoint, but nothing happens.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, at this point, there's a draft land disposition agreement that they have. And until he's ready to engage and buy it, there's really not much we can do. I mean, we don't have a backup buyer. We don't even own the property, frankly. The city
No.
owns it. So, you know, if he wants to buy it, he has to engage. And if he doesn't, then we're not going to take ownership, because we're not taking it from the city unless we can turn around and resell it. So.
Well, is it appropriate to put a date where we need to get this done?
We could, but you'd have to say in that date, you know, if you don't get back to us by this date, we're not selling to you. I guess, if you want to do that. If he came back 2 weeks later and said, I want to buy it, I'm not sure we'd say no.
No, that's right, but I'm not prepared to pick a date today. I just wanted whether or not that's appropriate.
Well, what I had done before Thanksgiving was write him and say, why don't we have a phone meeting between your attorney and ours, and, you know, you and me and our attorneys, and get together and talk through the issues. And he didn't really respond to that. He then really got his attorney to contact us.
Okay.
And maybe we should again say, we understand you're struggling with this. You know, why don't we get on the phone and talk it through?
But we already know the issues that he has concerns with.
We think, we're not sure.
Well, that's my point.
I've heard a few, but I'm not sure. I've never seen a draft back with
Right.
revisions, so. And some of the issues, frankly, have nothing to do with the redevelopment authority. I mean, how the land's gonna be taxed and pilot agreements, that's all with the city.
Right.
So I think Ken would have to be on that call.
Right, yeah.
Because we're not the taxing authority. We're not the ones who determine that stuff.
And he's also talking about, you know, is he going to create a nonprofit, and that all plays into it too. I think he has a lot of decisions
Well, that has
to
nothing
make.
to do with us either.
We're just the seller.
Right.
That's all he does.
No, a lot of it has nothing to do with us. It's just holding him up from getting back to us. And until he resolves those things, he's not ready to sign an agreement. So we're trying to figure out how to help him resolve those things.
Well, you know, maybe we should have a discussion with the mayor and see how he feels about the delays and whether or not he wants to put a date on it. I mean, if he's that serious about, oh, let's give it more time, fine, but maybe we do put a date on it. If he agrees, I don't see a problem with us agreeing.
No, and then, or maybe we try one more time to schedule a call. And
Yes.
it could be somebody from the mayor's office, could be somebody from Ken's office, could be.
I think we should.
Because there are
do that.
issues beyond us as the seller, that.
Right.
There are special permits, there's parking, there's tax issues, there are things that have nothing to do with us.
Yeah, I think we should move toward that, because our, the projects that we have now and going forward, the ones that, you know, that nothing's happened, we should just get rid of those and start moving forward. I mean, you can't take on 3 more and still be juggling 7. So I'd like to come to a conclusion on this, again, with the direction of the mayor. How entrenched is he in having this done at the beginning? It was, it was very exciting, but nothing's been happening.
And again, we're just facilitating this.
Right, that's what I mean.
We don't own the property.
But we are dealing with it,
We
one
are.
less thing to deal with.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. I will propose to him a meeting with his attorney, ours, the mayor's office, Ken, me.
It can be a Zoom call, it can be
Yeah,
whatever's
sure.
more convenient. Yeah.
See, we can't answer for the administration or the city about,
Taxes.
Taxes or payment in lieu of
and that may
taxes.
be a question. We can't answer that question.
Right. So
Okay, why don't we try to facilitate?
maybe a goal is, of that meeting, I should tell him, is to get a list of the concerns that need to be resolved.
We
Yes.
want to help him.
Yeah.
He's got to tell us what he needs.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Great.
Next, community planning.
You want to sit on that? Great. Okay, good. So, well, it was interesting, we had the meeting, we did a walk and walked some of Pleasant Street with our consultants, and Bill Kenny and Caitlin from the city planning department, and Frances Goyes from Mass Housing joined us, and she walked some with us, and then we went and had lunch, and Paula provided us a great lunch from New Boston Bakery, and we had a really good conversation, and Frances explained Mass Housing's interest in making sure that housing was a piece of our planning, because we have tended to really focus on commercial, and she made sure that we knew that getting housing in there, which we're certainly envisioning on the upper floors of the commercial buildings on Pleasant Street, and housing is certainly a piece of it. And so that was a good discussion. And then several days later, she wrote us to say that she's leaving Mass Housing. And so we felt like we finally met her in person, and so she has someone taking over temporarily from her, and Mike Dion and I are setting up a call with him. We've thrown out some dates, and so hopefully we'll connect with him next week. And but it was a good day, and their product that we're getting out of it is that instead of photographing each building, we went down streets, and we're creating, they're using a program that's kind of like Google Maps Street View, and they're creating a really more interactive document that, online, that can be used over time, can be shown to people. And so it's a really interesting process and product that we're getting out of that. And now we're focusing on putting our committee together and plan to have a meeting with community members in January. Do you want to say anything about it, Joan? It was great that you were there.
It was good. The consultants around the table certainly brought their expertise into it. I think it facilitated some really good discussion around the issues in the neighborhood. and gave them some ideas to think about and opine on as they start working on the proposal.
Yeah. Good. So, let's see, the next is collaboration on projects in the TDI district and
Yeah.
South Main Street. And I'll just give you, first we want to, I'll give you an update in a minute, but I guess first we want to deal with the historic district consultant.
You want to do that before the TDI?
I outlined the projects under this. Do you want me to go into those?
No, we can go
Yeah.
out of order. Sure. No, go ahead with the historic district consultant issue.
So basically, we have a scope of work that we sent out to you, and I think that it looks good, and we can turn it into an RFQ that would go out in January. And if you have any thoughts on it, that would be helpful, but otherwise, I think that a scope of work is just a vote to go forward.
Okay, then, why don't we, why don't I entertain a vote to approve the scope of work for the historic district consultant and have an RFQ, even though you've had one developed already?
No, but
Okay.
it will be, I'll take the scope of work and
Okay.
use a standard RFQ that we've used before and work with John on it and work with
Okay.
Ken, and
All
we'll
right.
get that developed.
Well, again, I'll entertain a vote to approve the scope of work for the historic district consultant, have an RFQ developed to be given out in January of 2020. Is there a?
I move we proceed with the consultant, historic district consultant.
Okay, that's second.
Second.
Second by John. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Want to continue?
Yeah. So the rapid recovery plan has really, it's a big document, very helpful, lots of detail, lots of examples from other communities about how the 12 priority projects and goals that we've identified have been implemented in other communities. And, if you want some wonderful reading over the holidays, we can get you copies of it. It's big. But it was really, really helpful, and it has just a list of the 12 really delineated with what are immediate goals, midterm goals, long-term. And so we've had some really good conversations with the mayor about it, and Bill Kinney and Mike Dion and I have been really working through what goals the city already kind of envisions implementing. For example, Mike was already working on a facade improvement program. He was already working on the idea of a lease subsidy program so that we could attract companies to come to storefronts in South Main Street and pay part of their year's rent, their full year's rent. He's still looking at that as a real way to attract more businesses. So we are being offered help with fundraising. At least we've had a call and we have a team identifying funding sources that we might go to carry out some of these goals. And so we went to the mayor to ask him, of the 12, do you agree with us that these are the two we should really focus our fundraising on? One being having a vacancy tracking tool that's already somewhat developed and needs to be further developed, and a plan for recruiting companies to come to South Main Street. So that would dovetail really well with the facade improvement program, with the lease subsidy program that Mike is talking about. And the mayor said, absolutely, that's a super high priority for me. And Then we also talked about this whole issue of district management, which was another real priority identified. That we have Viva Fall River doing a lot of marketing of the district, but there's still a need to really think about how to engage companies in making decisions, to work as a group, to take on different issues, make sure that the maintenance and the beautification of downtown is happening in ways that they would like to see. So I think we have agreement that we want to create an association of businesses, and I worked to help a group in Springfield in the Italian section of Springfield create that kind of business association. And there's been concern that if you go to a business improvement district where companies and, you know, small shops and property owners have to really commit a percentage, a lot of them are designed by state law so that a percentage of your property value is then taxed by the bid to to generate money for this kind of district management. And that's not advisable when you have a district that is so struggling as it is. And so the idea of getting businesses engaged in a way where they have a vote at the table and are really thinking about how to improve their district, but just doing it with a nominal contribution is what we're pursuing. The group that I worked with came up with $25 a business. And, you know, it was incredibly token, but for some businesses that was actually what they really could contribute. And it really made a huge difference. And so the mayor said, oh, this is so daunting. And it is daunting, but, you know, you work at it over time. So the thinking is that we have a consultant being paid for by Mass Development, part of the TDI project, to come and really work with our partnership on the concept of district management. How has this worked other places? Model bylaws, probably, a variety of tools. And so we'll be working with her, but at the same time, we're thinking about raising the money, potentially using ARPA money to hire a district manager. So as we talked about that, the idea of that person being an employee of the Redevelopment Authority came up, because it would be better not to have it be a city position, and the RDA is a logical potential place to put this position. I would hope that they not be in our office in City Hall, or in any office in City Hall. It would be great if they could be in a storefront, or, you know, have a space somewhere right downtown, so that they're not seen as a city employee, but really as an employee of the association. Yeah. So we have a lot of work to do. We want to throw this idea around with a consultant, but I wanted to just let you know that that's some of the thinking that's going on right now.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. Very good.
And the other thing I wanted to report is there's been a lot of frustration that outdoor dining didn't get off the ground the way people hoped. For example, TA's restaurant wants to really had a plan for you know, their outdoor dining in some parking spaces, and Harry's wants it, and a few others really thought that it was moving forward. And so there's a need to put together a whole kind of program, probably another ordinance, just really clarify how do you apply, what are the guidelines, how do you work with the building department. So Civic Moxie has been hired, and there was funding available, and Bill Kinney has really had the city sign the contract, and there was $35,000 available for them to develop a program, and then some of that funding is available to get the concrete and some of the furniture that's needed to actually implement it. And so we moved really quickly on that once everyone said, you know, we have to get this figured out. And Civic Moxie developed the Fall River Arts and Culture Plan recently, and people really liked working with them. And they developed the outdoor dining guide for the state. And so it has examples from all different communities around the state. So they can really hit the ground running on this because they know the city and they know the issues. So I'm just very excited that so many of those pieces are coming together, and we seem to really have a lot of consensus about what the goals are and how to move this forward. So I guess the last thing to say about that is that we've started meeting to plan a gathering of property owners and businesses, and I'll be talking with Ken about it. We met at the chamber the other day, and we're thinking February 4th or so, where the TDI partnership will invite a lot of the businesses that have been involved. We're going to ask Ken to invite property owners, and he and I have been talking about this, and I think that you know, we want the mayor to be there, probably invite city councilors, and really have a conversation about how all these pieces could work to really get the district more activated. So that's the
Downtown district.
downtown district.
And the next is, the last is 79, 79.
Yeah,
Is there
so.
any update on that at all? I mean.
Yeah, there's just a really brief update.
Yeah.
Bill Kinney, Ken and I met the other day because Mass DOT came back to us and said, do you want us to provide a consultant to work with you on the issue that we've been raising over and over about how, once there are developable parcels, how are people getting in and out of them? Where are the curb cuts? And it's hard to know where curb cuts should go before we're further along, and yet we don't want to get far along and then have a problem with how are people getting in and out. So we all agreed we should ask for a consultant, and Bill sent in that request.
Right, but that consultant would currently work at Mass DOT?
Well, I think Mass DOT is hiring a consultant to work with us.
Whoever the consultant is should be aware of what the project is, too.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's someone Mass DOT has
Okay.
been working with,
All right.
and they will help probably go back and forth with between Mass DOT folks and us about where are we going to put these entrances and exits.
Anything else?
Good.
Anything else, Sarah?
Nope.
Anything from any of the other members? No? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second? Joan, second? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.